When Mexico Central, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
So I think we can learn a lot about ourselves through observing nature. The processes that exist out there exist within us too, because we are part of nature, but we are also 100% nature. Kind of in the same way that my finger is part of me, but it's my finger, right? So it's like 100% me. It's all my finger. It's all me. But the way that we learn from nature is completely different than the way that we learn about things in school or from people talking to us, right? We learn through observation. Nature doesn't dictate to us. It doesn't tell us definitions or like say, here's what this is, learn this. It just does itself, and then we see it through our eyes. Nature inspires our thoughts. Now, these thoughts seem to come from within us because we think of them, but really they come from out there. The knowledge and the processes exist in nature. They happen, and all we do is just observe them. This is the same process that Zen masters use when teaching their students. They teach passively. They teach letting their students observe them without putting knowledge on them. And this is why it feels so much more real to us and so much more like an undoubted truth, because it seems like it came from our own ideas, our own brain. It's like almost like a personal conviction that you come to. The knowledge and the truth is observed in nature, but it's the illusion that it came from within. So the other day I was walking through my town, and there's this river that goes through it, and I went to sit next to it because it's beautiful. There's the river and hills, and the hills have a bunch of trees on them, and it was fall, so the colors were everywhere. It was red and gold and just perfect looking. So I sat down just to kind of meditate, zen out a little bit, and I thought of the book called Siddhartha while I was sitting there. For those of you guys who aren't too familiar with it, in the book is a concept of how rivers kind of describe all of life. So in the same way that rivers flow and are constantly changing, life works that way too. The only constant in life is change. So I was just watching the river flow by, noticing the bubbles popping up on the surface, and I realized that bubbles are forming because of the contact between the water and the air. And that made me think that the air is kind of like another river. The air flows on top of the water in the same way that the water flows, because gas and liquid work fluid dynamically in the same way. Physics, I think. I just thought about how bubbles can only really form at the meeting point between the two rivers. And there's some turbulence goes on, a little bit of air gets trapped in a little bit of water and creates a bubble. And I thought about how we could kind of be described in the same way. Our physical selves, our physical dimension, everything we can touch and see and interact with, is like a river in that it's constantly changing and moving and shifting. You might think it's solid, but really it's not. If you look at anything, it all disintegrates and deteriorates and goes away. The river of water is kind of representative of our physical nature, and the river of air on top of it is kind of representative of our consciousness, in that at the meeting point between the two, where the physical river and the consciousness river meet, there's turbulence that goes on there, and a little bit of physical water traps some consciousness air and creates a person, or creates a tree or a rock or whatever. However this universe wants to manifest itself. The bubble is us. But the air that's trapped by the water in the bubble is still air. It's not anything else. It doesn't change form. It doesn't change substance. It's just separated from the rest of the air by a thin layer of water. In the same way, the consciousness in you is the consciousness in me, just separated by a thin layer of physical. And when our bubble pops, we die, and the consciousness flows out and into the rest of the consciousness, the singular river of consciousness flowing all around us. Life, I think, gets so much easier when you realize we're all just fragile little bubbles floating down a river, and we could pop at any time. Do what you really want to do. Don't try to hold on to life. Just try to live it like it's going away, because it is. So that's all for this video. Really new to this whole YouTube thing. I'm gonna try and learn as quickly as I can, which is kind of the point of this channel. I want to make this a good channel for you guys to learn stuff that I think is cool, but I also want it to be a place where I can learn things as well. So if you think that there's something that I should know that I don't, or that you think I don't, tell me. Please teach me. I want to know. Thanks for watching. Peace.